Well, howdy. How's it going today? I've been getting a bit of criticism and a little bit of support as well, so thank you kindly for those who have thrown a couple of bucks into my cup. It is much appreciated. You won't believe how much it's helping me at this time. I never expected I'd be into these situations. And the criticism is about how much I drink. So I've decided I'd make a new rule now. I'll just hit that little pause button from now on before I decide to have a drink, because my goodness gracious, an adult human being drinking beer for, and I'm going to be much less profane than before, because profanity, I mean, imagine you're listening in on a conversation of, let's just say, Koreans. That's just something I pulled out of the air, but they could be Japanese, or they could be Afrikaans. They could be any sort of language which you don't speak, and they could be swearing their heads off, and you're just listening to it saying, my, that's a beautiful, pleasant language. How fucking good is that? Oh my gosh, babe! Somebody said a swear word. Shit. Oops. Pooped that one out too. Swearing on the internet as a form of censorship, deleting out our words. It's all just sounds, it's all the Queen's English, and it's all, well, it's not all the Queen's English obviously because of the other language type thing. I'm not sure how many there are, probably several thousand, if not several million. I wouldn't go quite that far. There's only several billion people in the world. But you see, my point is, offence occurs to the offended, not to the offendee. You know, I could say something that pisses you right off. Like, I had a really good example earlier, but you know, I've got goldfish memory. What was that talking about? Anyway, I'll drink to that. Oh, for fuck's sake. So good, man. There's quite a few topics I want to talk about, but obviously been completely unprepared to make a video. I just came down here to feed the fish and thought, do a really random video. And it doesn't get much more random than the fact I'm hungover as a dog. Well, actually, dogs don't get hungover because they don't drink. But I had a good sleep in this morning. I slept in till after 11. Now, I don't do that. I sleep till about 6. Actually, no. I sleep till about 1, and then hit the don't cancel button on the YouTube's playing in the background so I can listen to more, usually Mark Sargent or the Globebusters or whatever's going on in the background. It just goes on autoplay. But for some reason now my stupid laptop decides to just pause in the middle of it. So I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden I'm like, I wake up. It's too quiet. Even just hovering the mouse around it often brings it back on again. So, good, now I can go back to sleep and listen to shit. Anyway, I had some really weird dreams. Not last night. Last night was a complete blackout. Absolute complete blackout. I mean, I did stay up till after midnight, I must admit, but that's normal. I don't ordinarily go to sleep much before that, but to sleep till past 11. I mean, I'd wake up at the usual 6, 7, 8, and all that sort of shit, and went, yeah, alright, get up. It was a TAFE day. I was supposed to go to TAFE today, and I looked out the window. It's raining. I don't like hitching in the rain. 2 hours later, fuck, it's after 11 o'clock. I'm like, yes, I must have needed some sleep. So, good to my body to actually get it for a change. because it doesn't happen very often, and I'm quite chuffed with myself. That I said, right, when 12 o'clock comes around today, I'm going to get up, I'll go down and I'll finish cleaning out the fish tanks and all their filters, and then as I'm topping up the water, I'll start mixing up my next home brew, so that, because there's no water downstairs here, like water taps or anything, we have to take it all from upstairs. There's a kitchen sink, there's a bathroom sink, there's a laundry tub, and there's an outside tap. That's the water accesses in this over 100-year-old house. I think it must be a good 120. But down here, of course, this is the basement. This is where I do all my stuff, because I love the privacy. The windows up there, like that window you can see, that's ground level outside. So I love being down in here. It's like I'm in the underground. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, I'm gonna stop drinking online, so sorry about that. I think what the problem is it's such a damn good beer. This one, if you can see the label, how it says Cooper's Brewery Sparkling Ale, this one was actually made virtually to the recipe of it. 2 big cans of the Cooper's Sparkling Ale, which you got to buy them at the local home brew store too. You can't just get them at the supermarket. I mean, you got to go out of your way. $20 a bloody can. That's big money, man. $40 just for that. Then there's the sugar and the honey and the malt and the special herbs and spices that the Colonel adds himself. They're all legal. You can buy them all just at the health food store. It's not a problem. There's nothing illegal in my beers except alcohol. You're only permitted to drink so much alcohol before jumping into your car. Pardon me. I was going to have a whinge about that too, but I'm just going to tell my story and leave it at that. The fact that I've lost my license, which means I've lost my job, which means I can't find a job, which means I'm unemployed, I'm unemployable, and I'm living somewhere way more than I can afford, because I can't afford to move anywhere else. So this is basically, when the day comes, I'll probably just, I don't know, I'm not into violence, I don't think. I mean, the rope around the neck's the most logical, easy thing. That's the one I worked out when I was about 6 or 7 or 8. How to step out of this world, but I don't want to step out that way. I'd just rather just go to sleep and not wake up again. So I'd probably do the overdose on something like heroin or marijuana or something. No. I mean, I'm here for the long run. I don't intend to go anywhere. I just can't fucking pay the cost. Is it my own fault? Should I apply myself more to just earning money so I can apply myself to earning more money just so I can apply myself to earning more money just so I can live? That's what everybody says I should do. Go do this, go do that, go fucking get these qualifications, go fucking earn all this bullshit. Fuck the non-drinking restrictions, some fucking drinking. Everything on this earth comes freely from the sun. The Mother Earth gives us everything freely. Why the fuck should I have to pay for every fucking thing? This house, okay, well it does belong to somebody else. I agree to pay a certain amount to live in it. Fine, So when I run out of the means to be able to pay that money, what's going to happen next? Well, they're just going to come along and say, we're evicting you. Out you go. Out the door, bye-bye. And like, then where'd I go? Well, I can go and sleep under the stars, but the stars don't shine every night. Not around here. We get some nights where it's quite cloudy and quite precipitous in rain, and sometimes it lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I don't really fancy living out in that, so I don't know. All I was trying to do was to go out and do my job, to keep my job, so I still have my job. And it turns out, well, I was a little bit fucking hungover. Naughty, naughty, naughty. You can no longer exist in this society. So what's a man to do? I'll tell you what's a man to do. Oh God, that was a wet one. Just kidding. Fucking. It was dry. I think. It didn't come out at all how I expected. I expected it to come out like. But it came out. Fart jokes are the best, eh? That was close. I nearly got busted. Drinking online. That'll be the next thing. Drinking online. Oh, fined $150. We caught you drinking online. That is against the law. Oh, that's been waiting all day to come out, that one. And it doesn't smell. Like, come and have a smell. My farts don't stink. Isn't that cool? Like, you might think somebody's full of themselves if they say your farts don't stink or your shit don't stink. My kids used to, I overheard them talking about it one time because I often spend a bit of time in the bathroom sitting on the loo, and then of course they're hanging out until I get out. They go in and then they come out, and I overhear them talking. It never smells. After going in, you'd expect it to be really smelly. My shit don't stink, motherfucker. So, yeah, it's good to be me. I hope I can be me for a little bit longer, which is why I appreciate any assistance. And I'm not saying like, you know, send money, because you know how much I despise money. But if you got any spare, just, you know, send it to me, because I just need to pay me rent. That's all. You know, I don't give a fuck. I'm not living the high luxurious life. I'm not going to go jet setting around the world or anything. I just want to pay me rent and pay me phone bills, electricity, and you know, one of these days I might even be able to afford to go and buy some food. But you know, I've still got beer. That's the beauty of being me, is I got beer, baby. And oh, fucking. I don't swear at all. Other thing I wanted to talk about, because this came up on another one of bloody Wolfies. I mean, Wolfie. This bloke gets to me in a way, because he is putting out videos constantly to defend the globe. And that's fine by me, you know. Like, if you have a belief and you want to defend it, by all means, defend the fuck out of it. Just, you know, provide some proof. All these things that he provides seem to lack that one little thing, which is actual proof, like curvature. Go up in your plane, Mr. Wolfie, and take some pictures use one of those 360 phones. Surely we could see some curvature by there. No. No, we're just going to talk about the equinox and how the flat earthers can't prove it. Well, I would like to know how the equinox works on the globe. Oh, apparently you've got a new video up. I haven't even looked at that one yet. But your last one, where you were showing the thing about the clouds going behind the sun, that was cool. Yeah, like, I like that because I agree 100% with that. Because flat earthers who say they can see clouds going behind the sun, I'm thinking, you are idiots. Please, I don't like to call my fellow flat earthers idiots because, I mean, there's idiots in every facet of society, all around the world. Hang on, I've got another one coming here. Oh, that's a triple fart. That was a beauty. Fuck's sake, stop looking. Oh, that was better than pausing. The sun is obviously well above the clouds, but as I came to say, is the clouds that you're seeing when you think you're seeing that, they're not even clouds. I mean, I remember as a child, I have a really good childhood memory. You know, I had a pretty good childhood. And one thing I loved more than anything was as we're driving in our car, in the family car, looking out the window at the clouds and just looking at these massive, fluffy, white, bouncy, like, I used to think of them as castles in the air type of thing. You know, they were just awesome, and I used to imagine myself just leaping and bounding and flying through them and that sort of stuff. You don't see clouds like that today anymore, or if you do, it's a very rare occasion. And on other times there'd be no clouds whatsoever, but you might see this tiny little jet aeroplane way up high, so tiny, and you'd see this tiny little contrail behind it. So if this is the plane, here's your contrail, and the contrail will just sort of keep following it. And I used to think to myself, well, why does it keep sort of melting out? You know, I was a very questioning child. I'd look at all sorts of stuff all the time. I mean, my parents were marvelled at me as, you know, if I went out for a day and just to talk about the animals that I'd seen that day, or they'd see the pictures that I took, and I say, what the heck is that? We've never seen anything like that before, and yet I'm just going down to the same places they've been all their lives, because I see and I capture things that the normal person doesn't see. And so as a result of that, I kind of do know everything. I mean, my parents picked my name. They were going to call me Scott, but they changed their minds and they had this Reader's Digest book looking through the names, and they said, well, we can't call him Scott because we want to make his middle name Edward, and then his initials would be S-E-T, and we don't want to make him Set. I would have been fine with that. I mean, most people that get my name wrong call me Scott, but my name ended up being Ross. And the definition in this book, this Reader's Digest name book that my parents used back in the early 70s, said Ross knows everything. So that was what I got endowed with in my birth. And another part of my birth was, I didn't want to come out yet, I wasn't ready, but the doctor said, no, fuck you, and he put his little scalpel in and he cut the top of my head. I think I've still got a scar somewhere. Said, no, you're coming out now. And now happened to be 11:11 a.m, 22nd of June, 1971. The only day that the winter solstice in Australia fell on the 22nd in like a 30-year gap. It's normally the 21st of June. This particular year it was the 22nd, so that's when I come out. And as I was coming out, I looked at that doctor. I said, I actually did. I didn't say it in words, but I looked at him and was like, I really liked it in there, you bastard. Why couldn't you leave me in there? And then a few days later, I won't go into that. It's too painful. I've got lots of painful memories about that. And it's probably not worth talking about. Let me just close down that chat window because somebody wants to chat. So, going all the way back now to where we were, which we weren't anywhere because this is just a ramble. This is just a rant. We're talking about that Wolfie character and clouds. Fucking hell, I can go off track, can't I? Pardon me. Didn't mean to say that out loud. Shit. So we're talking about what I said, why this happens. Because in my day, when you looked at the sun go behind clouds, everything would go into shade. That was it. You know, you got your sunshine, you got your shade from the clouds. Oh, it's overcast now. But no, these days, clouds are just this wispy shit going across in front of the sun, and the sun can still shine through in front of it. And that's why I said thank you so much, Wolfie, for providing evidence of chemtrails. Yeah, chemtrails have been one of the biggest banes of my existence. My youngest daughter, who's now 18 and a good look, I said, get your eyes off her, you dirty perverts. She's a lovely girl, young Jenny Grace. She was 6 months in the womb of her mother, and you know, kudos to her. When her mother went into hospital with an atypical pneumonia, and the hospital was full, it was overloaded with people suffering. That's not a nose hair, is it? From atypical pneumonia. It was, and they had to keep shuffling her around. They didn't really want to put her into the maternity ward, even though she was pregnant, because they didn't want to give all these other pregnant women or their babies the chance of pneumonia. So they just had to keep shuffling her around, didn't know what to do with her. And she stayed in there for the best part, I think it was close to 2 weeks. Yeah, I got no real record of it because basically I was just running the household. I was run off my feet and I only visited her a handful of times. Every time I took the kids in there, they just run amok, running up and down the corridors of the frickin' hospital. It's like, okay, I've got to take these kids home now. They're great kids, far out. But a handful. And meanwhile, she's full of the third one. And when this little one was born, she actually had a little hole about somewhere around here in her neck, which I strongly suspect was what they did to take some experiments to see the results of what all this chemtrail activity causing atypical pneumonia amongst our population, which I'd been watching for ages and ages. Sorry, I take that back. I'd only just been woken up to and then watched for ages and ages and noticed the same thing kept happening all the time. Now, it is currently the 29th. I just had to look out the window. It's the 29th of March today, 2018, which means tomorrow is Good Friday. Oh, sorry, Friday. Just keeping on your toes. Tomorrow is Good Friday, 30th. The 30th of March. And then over this weekend, we will have the big blues festival going on all over our Byron Shire. And I guarantee you, as it has been today, rain. It always rains. Every time they have a major festival around here, they've got one on the Easter, the Blues Fest. They've got one later in the winter, the Splendor in the Grass Fest. Plus many, many other less major festivals in this area. And every single time, you can guarantee they are spraying shit in our skies. And people get really, really sick afterwards. I cannot express how much I have seen and noticed and witnessed and documented and observed this over the best part of the last 18 years. They spray shit in the sky. They affect our weather. They can cause floods. They can cause disease outbreaks. They can even drop frickin' these tiny little mosquitoes or ticks or you name it. They can do whatever the hell they want. Most of the time they're dropping things called platelets, which are tiny molecules of blood. Yeah. Blood platelets. Where they have infested or infected, either works, with disease, which causes colds, influenza, and who knows what else. I don't know. But I had this one wanker. Fuck it, I'm not pausing for this. Okay, that's one thing I will pause it for. I coughed something up and it had to be disposed of outside of the viewing area. This one particular wanker, I wish I had his. I should have brought the tablet down so I could read out his comment on Wolfie's video where I mentioned how they're not real clouds, they're chemtrails. He said some shit about us conspiracy theorists, or you conspiracy theorists, which means me. Us conspiracy theorists. We just pull shit out of our arse. Well, I do that a couple of times each morning, but I don't pull it. It just comes out naturally. We pull theories out without any proof, without any evidence, and I don't know. I've been looking into the chemtrail conspiracy for so many years now. I've even been blocked by other chemtrail conspiracists because they don't like the fact that I believe the Earth is flat, for one thing. That's how I lost that, what's his name, Max fucking Bliss or some shit. Him and we agreed on so many things, and I was a big supporter of him, but he posted a thing on Facebook about anybody that thinks the Earth is flat, they creating division or some shit. I thought, no. We are creating unity. If everybody finally agrees the Earth is flat and stationary, then we can make sense of all this chemtrail shit going on around us and everything else. Right? The stars go around us. Why haven't they changed in thousands and thousands of years? It's just a coincidence because they're so very far away. But the chemtrails, and I've looked into it, into every inch of it. I've read from whistleblowers. I know what's really going on, and it's too hard to explain. It really is. Basically, when an airline pilot thinks he's loading up fuel, and this is the newest conspiracy going around, of course, which says they're not running on fuel. They're actually not. They start off with fuel, and once they're up and running, all it needs is a frickin' high pressure air injection against that fan blade, and it will keep on spinning. So yeah, once you're up off the ground and reach height, that's all you really need. You can just put compressed air into any engine and it will work. Often it takes more energy to compress the air than you can imagine. And you hear these engines droning. They could just as easily be generators creating energy for air compressors to keep doing the work. Not to mention they could be full of hydrogen. I mean, these things called an Airbus. How many massively surrounded air capsules could they be full of? Full of hydrogen or helium. I mean, helium is more expensive, but you can just create it out of hydrogen. And as long as the things don't freaking crash like the Heisenberg, they'll be fine. So there's a clue in the name, isn't it? Airbus. Airbus? Why would you call it an Airbus if it's a kerosene bus? Anyway, back to where I was, is that means that they've got a lot more payload area in their undercarriage and wherever to store the things that are being sprayed out as chemtrails. I mean, you'll have to spend at least 10 years investigating that, like I've done, to understand exactly what I'm trying to talk about here. But there are people in the know who can work out the difference between, I'm running out of time, between payload, fuel load, passenger load, and exactly how much chemtrail shit you can pack into each plane. And with that, I'm out of time. I'll talk to you next time.